All right, that being said, I'd like to call to order the October 14th, 2020 meeting of the Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority. At this time, I'm going to do a roll call. Director Rosbeck
Here.
and Director Yazbek,
Here.
Director Riley,
Here.
Director Brake,
Present.
and I am present. Okay. Did I get everybody? Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay. So now's the time for us to adjourn to closed session.
Yeah, you'll need a motion to go into closed session for attorney-client privilege communication.
Move we go to closed
Dave
session.
Gillum is on the phone too, or on the call.
I second.
Okay. Motion by Director Riley, seconded by Director Rosbeck. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I need a roll call.
Okay, I'm sorry. Roll call vote. Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Brake,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Okay, so we will now, Tim, I don't know the procedure on the Zoom here. We're going to adjourn to closed session.
Yeah, and we should stop broadcasting publicly. This is my first closed session, so I'm at least remotely, so I'll leave it up to WROK and the streamer. And then Dave Gillum can take over as the attorney.
Okay, so we are adjourned for now and we'll be back shortly. Thank you. Okay, we're going to resume the public meeting at this time. And it is, we are on to item number 5, which is public comment. Do we have anything that's been sent in or anything?
There was no public comment called in today.
Thank you. Tim, anything from you?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go to item number 6, the approval of the meeting minutes from September 16th, 2020. Director Rosbeck.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Director Rosbeck, seconded by Director Riley. Questions? Okay. Roll call, Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Brake, and I will vote yes. Okay. Expense items. This is for informational purposes only. You should have had time to review them. Any questions for staff? I need clarification. Director Riley?
Yeah, just real quick, Tim. 4th Street, the 4th Street number and the paver replacement numbers, those are progress payments based on the total bills. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on, at this time, we're going to add an agenda item pertaining to the alley lighting improvements between 2nd and 3rd Street. Tim, you want to just kind of start us here?
Yes, you have a lighting plan and you have a proposed agreement with DTE to allow you to put 6 colored changing lights on 3 of their distribution poles. And you also have a suggested resolution. Again, this is the second part of what's previously been approved for lighting on the 11-mile parking deck. And if you approve this agreement, it will be the last step, I believe, before we can hopefully get installation started. And there is a suggested resolution.
Director Riley?
I'd move to approve the resolution as it is.
Motion by Director Riley, second by Director Rosbeck. Any questions? Comments? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Brake,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Motion passes. Okay, moving along then. Item number 8, parking, MPS meter project. Tim, I think it's either you or Sean. I don't know. You want to handle it?
Yeah, I'll start it. I think the infrastructure committee can jump in too. That's who's ever part of the meeting. Basically, what this memo that the infrastructure committee received from the parking systems manager, Keith Fry, Corey O'Donohue, the police chief, was also in the Zoom meeting with the infrastructure committee. What the committee received was this memo and report on the study that the parking system is going through and evaluating replacing the smart meters in the downtown with potentially a MPS system. The goal of the summary from the parking system manager and the police department was more of an update on where they were, what their hopes and goals were, and reasoning behind this system. They weren't looking for formal action in terms of an approval from the DDA, but more of support in the direction of where the city was going with its meter system. And this is in relation right now to only the on-street meters. Some of you may have noticed they're doing a test between, I believe it's 2nd, 3rd on the east side of Main Street, where some of these MPS meters have been installed. I won't get into the memo. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at it, some of the details behind it. One of the things that did come up in the reasoning is, it's my understanding that the current smart meters need to be replaced, and the decision on that needs to occur before the end of the year. I don't know if anybody that was part of that discussion is on this call. Mike, I think you might.
Yeah, no, I was. And I think the discussion was a very positive one. I think the infrastructure committee as a whole was in support of this. We heard from a number of different staff people from Royal Oak and from Chief O'Donohue, and they were all fully in support of this. They think the new system is definitely the way to go. And I think we all related back to some of the issues we've had in the past with the current meters and everything else. So across the board, I think there was pretty much full support for this. Director Riley.
Yeah, I'll just, I've got a few more questions, but I see Jennifer's got her hand up, so I'll just throw it. I was a little shocked to read that the current smart meters are going to all have to be replaced by the end of the year, because, I mean, it seems like less than a year that we finally got some of those up and replaced the old ones, and I guess it's because of the technology. That was a little shocking to me. Not pointing fingers or anything. I just kind of, maybe that's how fast technology is moving. Of course, my next question would be how long before these are obsolete, but nobody's got that answer. I have seen these meters. They are on the east side of Main between 3rd and 4th. They are definitely interesting. I know I watch people in the morning get out and look at them, and you know, as you'd expect, it's like they're looking at a spaceship. I mean, they do take some getting used to, but when you get up to them and you look at them, it's pretty freaking amazing at the amount of info in there. I know Jennifer had her hand up, and then I've got just a couple of detailed questions.
Okay. Director Rosbeck.
Yeah, I guess my question is, do we think that these meters, and I wasn't part of any other park, I don't remember having a conversation about parking meters, so this might have been before my time. But do we believe that this system will be better than what's currently out there in terms of people being ticketed incorrectly and things like that? Because I do know that our current system sometimes causes people to be ticketed even though they paid at the, the post down a ways and put in the right number, put in maybe they put in the number next to them. So I don't know if this takes some of that guesswork out of it.
Yeah, Director, I'm going to refer to Tim here, but I think that Chief O'Donoghue did address that situation and felt like it was going to be a much better user-friendly type thing and would definitely alleviate some of those problems. And also, Tim, wasn't the discussion, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't the discussion that if we went to these, we would maybe no longer using kiosks? Or, pay at the kiosk type thing, system?
Well, they haven't really looked at the
The
parking
off-street?
lot yet. Right now, the study is primarily for the on-street meters.
I gotcha, okay.
And I know they're going to get into the lots, but I think initially this evaluation is going on with the on-street meters. And by no means is the parking system manager or the police chief or even the city manager made a decision as to this is the best option yet. They're simply evaluating it and doing an analysis. And because the DDA is the parking committee, they wanted to get your thoughts, comments, concerns, and issues before they got too far along on it. And as the police chief said, if the details don't work out or the agreement with the company is not acceptable, they won't proceed with this, and they'll have to go in some other direction. But there is the big point, I think, was there is a decision that needs to be made going into the first part of the next calendar year, and they're trying to get to that point. In terms of alleviating parking ticket complaints, you're always going to have parking ticket complaints. At least that's been my experience. A lot of the ones on a current meter are, as you said, they're user errors. Most of the ones that they have researched back to have been found either typed in the wrong license plate number or they did something that was incorrect on it. But having said that, so far they believe this system will be better than that one because it will actually read the license plate for you. You won't have to type it in or have that human error type portion of it. It's also my understanding that what they would do is look at any of the tickets that are that pop up because of overtime or whatever, and evaluate and make sure they match up before that ticket is sent out. And again, I'm talking from my understanding of the system. I'm not an expert in it, but my understanding is there won't be a ticket put on your car like there is now when you walk out. It's going to get mailed to you at the license plate address, so you'll get it in the mail after it's been evaluated. I think that's how it works. But anyways, I'll stop there before I.
Okay. Director Roswell, go ahead with your follow-up and then I'll.
Yeah, so my follow-up would be, we have two ticketing prices then for people if you get a ticket right away versus you pay it in 10 days or 20 days. I forget what it is. But
72 hours.
What?
72
Oh, 24 hours?
72.
Sorry. I'm thinking it's more than that. So sorry. But yeah, is that going to change then the effective rates of these things? And then second, my follow-up question would be, is this going to dovetail into the current parking app that we've been using, or are we going to have a whole new app for these particular parking units?
My understanding is as the smart, and I don't know if Mr. Brake has some personal experience with these in the past, but my understanding is, in terms of tickets, it's supposed to be more user-friendly. I don't know that I have all the particulars, and I don't want to something that's incorrect in regards to how tickets are done, but it's supposed to be able to give you the ability to pay what you should have paid before you do get the ticket. So you can log in and set up an account, prepay, you can pay. So it should give you some notice that you will get a ticket if you don't pay right away. So if you pay, you should be good. And again, we're getting into a little bit of the weeds that I don't have a lot of the details on. The second question, can you say that again?
Is the app. So currently,
The Park Mobile app you can use, but my understanding, this system also has an app that you can log into that will direct you to empty parking spaces. So if you set up an account and you go on and you're in the city system, or not in this system, MPS system, it will give you where there are open spaces. So it will work with Park Mobile, but it may be better going through theirs as well, is my understanding. So
Okay. Matt, hang on one sec, okay?
Yeah.
Director Brake has got some clarity here. Director Brake?
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to concur with what Tim explained. The nice feature about this is there is a standalone app through this MPA or MPS that will automatically bill depending on the duration. However, if there's a set time limit, then if the person that's parking, if they exceed that amount of time, then they will receive a ticket. The second part of your question with the Park Mobile app, this most definitely works with that, because that's a nice app to have. I can tell you from, working 400 miles away that we use that same app. And if you travel at all, many other cities use that. So that's kind of the selling feature to using the Park Mobile app. So yes and yes. To answer your question.
Thank you.
Yep.
Director Riley?
Yeah, and that was I'd highlighted the one line in the memo, and I was going to look at for clarification. I just got it. I think this is probably the most park-friendly thing. If I'm reading this right, the most park-friendly thing we've ever done in Royal Oak. If users exceed their paid time at a parking space, they can pay for the additional time at the end of their parking session and thereby avoid a parking citation. So in other words, if they have the money in their account and they're expired, but their time frame isn't expired, then they can avoid the ticket. Is that the way? Am I reading that correctly? Yeah. Yes. Okay. That is, to me, from the DDA standpoint and from marketing the downtown and park friendly, that's the coolest thing we've ever done. If we do this, I mean, that really is. That's like, hey guys, keep your accounts loaded. And what Director Rosbeck said on the app, it's kind of funny because the Park Mobile app, I think any of us who move around, we love that app. We can use it in Birmingham. We used to be able to use it in Royal Oak, Birmingham, and Ferndale. Now Ferndale has their own app. Ann Arbor's got their own app. Detroit's got their own app. I mean, if you move around town, it's a big pain in the ass. So the fact that we'll be able to operate both is really cool. The last thing I was going to ask, and this is just for context, Sean and Tim, I know there was a time that somebody came to us and said, hey, I developed this thing and we want to try it out for free in your city. Was it this? I can't remember what it was. Or was this something the city went out and found?
I don't believe it had anything to do with this. There was a request that I believe they wanted to put cameras at the intersections and track vehicles, and
That's it.
And that was not this.
Right.
And that being said, the only negative I saw to this whole thing was, and this is true with any technology today, we're going to get people saying that we're big brothering them and we're tracking them and following them, especially when they can log in and they can, they know the license plate, they can find where you're going, but that's always going to happen. So no, this is good stuff, especially the part about being able, if you've got it in your fund, you avoid the ticket. That's
Okay.
good.
So I think Mr. Twing and Mr. Brake could probably pass along the DDA's comments on this. as the city moves forward with it. Director Brake.
Tim, were you looking for a recommendation for this?
I don't know, given that to where the Keith Fry and Corey were, whether we needed one, but if the board wants to pass a resolution supporting continuing the study and evaluation of this system, that would be fine.
Okay. So I will so move to make that.
Okay. Motion by Director Brake, second by Director Riley. Any further discussion on this? All right, roll call vote. Director Brake,
Yes.
Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Yesbick,
Yes.
Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, moving along. Item number 9, Stonebrook condominium request for reimbursement.
This request, let me grab it, get it up here real quick. All right. Again, I got to keep looking, see if I'm muted. The Infrastructure Committee did receive and looked at a request from Stonebrook Condominiums. This request was generated out of the DDA project that's ongoing, where all of the concrete brick pavers are being removed in those areas where they currently exist throughout the DDA district and replaced with the colored stamped concrete. Stonebrook Condominiums indicated that they did similar work back in 2018 and requested that the DDA consider reimbursing them for that work. As you can see in the memo, the committee did discuss it in some detail, including the idea of whether or not it was setting a precedent for similar requests in the future from others that may have put it in. However, the committee is recommending that the DDA provide some reimbursement because they felt that Stonebrook's reason for doing it was a safety and as well as an aesthetics issue for that area. The committee, however, is recommending that the DDA reimburse only 50% of the cost, whichever was lower, which was either the price and invoice provided by Stonebrook, which was $34,000, or the price that as determined by the city engineer under the current contract. And you'll see in the information in the memo, attached to the memo, is the engineering department put that cost based on the contract at $17,076.50. So 50% of that would be $8,538.25 is 50%. There is a resolution there if the board supports the Infrastructures Committee to reimburse Stonebrook's condominiums in that dollar amount. I don't know, Mike, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'll just add on some of the infrastructure's thought process. We did discuss this in detail and toss it around pretty well. I think the conclusion that we came to on this was, well, a number of different reasons. But one, we would have, if they hadn't done it, we would have been doing it 2 years later. We felt that there was really just cause for some reimbursement here based on the issue that they felt, we got information that they felt that this was truly a safety issue and something needed to be done, and they couldn't wait for the city or / DDA to replace this portion of that segment due to safety concerns. So, you know, for that main reason, we felt like we should support this. I think that was a thing. And then we weren't too concerned about the precedent issue. I think in the past, the DDA's stance on any type of situation like this has been that we would handle everything on a one-time type situation, and we'll evaluate if another request came by, we'll evaluate it on its own merits. So I think we kind of alleviated that. And then the last thing is that we felt that the reimbursement should be more in line with what the DDA and the city would have actually spent if they had been responsible at today's rates to do that amount of work. And you can see where engineering came back with their cost, and we're using that the basis for our recommendation for reimbursement. So, do I have any other questions that need to be answered here? Anything for staff or anything? There is a suggested resolution if the board agrees with the recommendation. Director Riley.
I would move to approve the disbursement.
Okay, I have a motion by Director Riley. Is that a second, Director Brake?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, motion by Director Riley, seconded by Director Brake. Questions or comments? Anything? Okay, then I am going to call for the vote. Roll call vote. Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Brake,
Yes.
Director Yesbeck,
Yes.
Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, item number 10, street lighting, 505 South Main.
Very briefly, I'll jump into this one. The DDA may recall that at 505 South Main Street, the city, as part of their site plan approval, required that they install the standard downtown streetscape, adjacent to that development. Excuse me. In that development, you may recall, is the restaurant that's being built around the Vibe Credit Union. It has frontage on Main Street at 505. It also has frontage on 5th Street. As part of that streetscape improvement, the developer did come to the DDA and asked for assistance. The DDA did award them $3,255. What this request or item is in front of the board for is related to the lights that are required to be installed along there. As they've been working through the engineering department, the addition of those lights along the south side of 5th, there is some concern that additional fixtures will overload the system on 5th Street and create some problems. So the engineering department was looking at a way to provide a full circuit. They've looked at two different options. Option 2 was the one that's being recommended because of it is cheaper, but it also is quicker and easier to do. There would be some additional cost if we went with option 1, if streetscape were installed on William Street between 4th and 5th. So in order to avoid that, we're looking at option 2 if the board wants to proceed. The rough estimate from engineering, I believe, was like 60, the details are down there, 65,840. I've included 70,000 in the resolution as an allocation out of the development fund if the board wanted to proceed or allocate those funds. If you do so, the engineering department would proceed with design of the actual installation and then bid it out before the work proceeds. They have made some contact with the developer at 505 to see if their contractor would do it, which is Tower Construction. I don't know whether they will or they won't, and we don't have a number from them yet. But before we went too far, we wanted to know if the DDA board was willing to support the installation of this infrastructure improvement.
Okay, discussion. Director Riley.
Yeah, just so I understand exactly what, 'cause I read through this and I'm still a little confused. So the project, which is right outside my window, and I'm watching them build, and man, they've been tearing up everything, and I can see how, they're adding the streetscape. So by adding the additional lights, we're overloading the circuit. Is that the way I understand it? And I guess just, you guys, I'll defer to Tim and Paul on this one. It would seem to me that, man, I kind of choked on 70,000 to add a couple of lights, basically for the city, but had this business not done this, we wouldn't have the need for it. But then again, I'm not stupid, and it is infrastructure, and we've talked about different things possibly going on across the street from there, possibly down the street. So I'll defer to you guys to tell me that this is a no-brainer or it requires a lot of thought or whatever.
Well, the only other thing I would add for the board, and I didn't include it in your packet. I don't think I did. No. Your streetscape map that the DDA has followed as priorities, and there was some discussion back when 505 was making a request, was to install the streetscape from the alley to the east to Williams Street, which normally the DDA would pick up the whole cost of. So you're getting service to that. The streetscape plan also includes installing the standard streetscape pattern from 4th to 5th on Williams. So there is some benefit above and beyond providing service to these few lights. So
does it provide service to the other side of the street? In other words, I'd say from the edge of Jolly Pumpkin to the edge of the surface parking lot there?
I believe if you look at the option 2, and I'm not an electrical engineer, but I believe if the west side of Williams is already serviced by what's labeled in a box, there's 11-1. That's a circuit.
Okay.
And it serves the west side of Williams and the north side of 5th. What they're hoping to do is 11-5 and have that serve and complete a circuit back to Troy. So,
and like I said, guys, I know I'm trying to think. Mike, Tony, Tim, obviously, you've all been with us when we've discussed different options for in that area, and if any of those options would come to fruition, we would need this done.
Yes, that we would need this done, and I think the time frame was a big part of the discussion. Was that if this is something we're looking to do at any time in the near future, it really should be done now.
Yeah, and I guess I would file this one. I'm always in favor. There's some people who won't like to hear me say this, but I'm always in favor of expanding the downtown a little bit more. As long as we don't. I know we're kind of bumping in neighborhoods here, but.
Right. I agree. I lean to, just for discussion purposes, I lean to support this. We've done a lot of improvements in the downtown area, and I think, and they've all been well worth it and good. And I think this falls in line with that. I don't know if it's a simple thing like it may help us with Christmas lights and decorations and, things like that as we move forward and try different things and do different things with English Gardens or whoever. I don't know. Staff seemed to think it was a good idea, and I think the infrastructure committee as a whole thought probably it was a good idea also.
Like I said, I'm sorry, John. At first, I just kind of choked on it, thinking about, this is just with 505. Right. But when you look at the whole big picture, and then when I look at the other area there, we're real close to where the new tower, the new communications tower is. Mm-hmm. And again, we've got the surface parking lot there. So,
right. Director Rossbeck.
Yeah, I guess my only question is, like, is this part of the DDA or is this like right at the edge of the DDA?
Well, the DDA goes all the way over, includes Troy Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that area, in that area.
In that area.
Yeah.
No, I guess I'm fuzzy on what all of those are. I would agree that this seems like the best opportunity to do what you wanted to do, and I haven't been privy to all of the infrastructure committee discussions, but it does seem like this would be a good time to do it if there is a new restaurant coming in at 505 being developed.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything to this point? Any other questions? Director Yazbek?
Yeah, just I agree with the comments, the feedback. We're talking about a lot of ideas, making that an active alley, maybe bringing it all the way down. And so certainly this type of development will help facilitate that when and if it comes.
That's another great point because we're
That's
talking
a good point. Yeah,
bringing the alley all the way down there. That's a
Yeah.
great point.
good. Okay, there is a suggested resolution.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Director, got a motion by Director Rosbeck.
Yeah.
And a second by Director Yazbek. Any further discussion? Okay, I will call for the vote. Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Brake,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. The motion passes. All right, item number 11, media placement, audio streaming, commercial. Sean, is this you or?
Yes, it is, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have a recommendation from the Consumer Marketing Committee. The board may recall that at the September 16th DDA meeting, the board referred an item to the Consumer Marketing Committee, and that was to take a budget item of $48,000 and come up with a recommendation for advertising the Royal Open radio commercial, as well as other promotional things that the DDA is working on, and come up with a recommendation on how to place those ads. So staff had reached out to 3 media placement agencies and got responses from 2 of them. We received several proposals from 2 of these companies. One was Entercom, the other one was Red Shovel Media. And on October 5th, the Consumer Marketing Committee met to review those proposals. After much discussion, the Consumer Marketing Committee recommends that the DDA move forward with a $28,000 proposal from Red Shovel Media to place audio commercials and other promotional material on iHeartRadio, and the proposal is attached in the agenda packet. Further, the committee recommends that $10,000 be placed with Entercom's Radio.com proposal, and the remaining $10,000 from that $48,000 be devoted to Entercom's Social Conquest program. And this program allows advertisers to reach consumers through geofence targeting. Further, the committee recommends that the Entercom programs have a duration of 30 days, and this will allow the committee to review the performance of those 2 programs next month and determine if the programs merit any sort of extension. And if the DDA concurs with the recommendation of the committee, there is a proposed resolution for its consideration.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Just for clarification purposes, Sean or Tim, I'm not sure who can answer this. My understanding is that this is money that's already been approved at the DDA board level, and this resolution is simply the expenditure or the placement of that money. Is that correct?
At a prior meeting, you allocated $48,000 to this and referred it back to the committee to bring you a recommendation of how to allocate those funds. So,
Okay.
yes.
And we've approved that 48, so this is basically just the placement of it.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Director Riley.
Yeah, I'm just, and I'll throw this to the committee or whomever. So looks like we're going with 95.5 and NIC. NIC, especially at Christmas time, correct? I mean, that's basically the plan there. Both of which I could not agree more with in terms of placement, in terms of video placement. The thing that's something really cool to me, and I'm not smart enough to understand it, but there was like the $10,000 with it, and I didn't print it off, and I'm going through it now. Was it not geo tracking or whatever? What is that?
Geo-targeting.
What, I'm sorry, what is it?
Geo-targeting or geofencing.
Without holding up the meeting for too long, can somebody educate me quickly on that? Because it sounds really cool.
So just to kind of explain this really quickly is the social conquesting that we've recommended is basically targeting folks in other communities to come to Royal Oak. So we're for the most part canceling out other larger downtowns around us to potentially have our Royal Open show up during their streaming time. So that we wanted to see if this would work.
Okay.
And it'll give us a 20-mile radius to target. So if you think about 20 miles around Royal Oak, you'll see where we're targeting.
And so what it does is that is this in it's not in is in a
So it's through radio.com.
I'm sorry, I got the train blowing by me. What was that?
It's through radio.com, if I'm right, correct, Sean? So,
Which is a streaming service, right?
right. And you could be streaming through your radio on your smartphone.
So it's that, plus it's also social media platforms. So let's say we pick a popular restaurant outside of Royal Oak in another community, and we geofence that. And anyone who goes there, they will start receiving Royal Oak ads. So I guess an example would be, let's say you go to another community and you park in their parking structure. And let's just say we've happened to select that parking structure as our geofence target. If somebody pulls in and parks and pays and finds their spot, and then they look at their phone and they hop on Instagram or Facebook or something, they could get targeted with an ad that shows the Royal Oak parking rates. That shows them like, hey, parking's, free on Sundays or something as an advertisement. So we could target people based on their behavior and their destination. So depending on the targets that we select, if we wanted to pick dining targets, we could serve them Royal Oak dining ads or parking ads or shopping ads, depending on what kind of locations that they're visiting. So it allows us to show them competitive advertising if they're engaging in places, say, as far away as Novi. So.
And you could even target them for your Royal Oak dollars.
Yes, yeah, so you can really cherry pick, and you could literally go. I mean, you could literally, if we were a company, you could literally just target your competition and say every time they walk in, if I'm Kroger, every time they walk into Meijer, blast them with this.
Correct.
Yeah, and it doesn't just stop with them being in that geofence target. It actually captures their IP address and continues to serve them ads even after they leave.
Yeah, they follow them.
As a side effect, if anybody on Netflix saw The Social Dilemma, this is it right here. So, and are we charging a firm with in other words, who's giving who direction into what we want to do, and are we updating it, or do we just say this is what we want to do? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm just for my edification.
So we would be working with Entercom specifically on this. So we would, if there's an agreement that's approved and signed and executed, then staff would sit down with Entercom and we would go through and we would develop that program. We would pick the areas that we would want geofenced. We would provide the advertisements, or if we need new ones, we could talk to them about developing some for us if that's included. And so, it's definitely an option. But we would specifically work with Entercom, and they would manage that for a 30-day period.
Yeah, and Matt, I think just to kind of understand that Intercom would also look at what are the key drivers when you want to do this type of activity. So we'd be looking to them to give us some expertise.
Okay, and can we change our message up whenever we want? I mean, obviously we don't want to change it every day, but let's say you wanted to, every couple of days you send a new message, like you would if you were running your own social media page. You might send something out every day or every couple of days.
So I will say with social media, what you have to realize is it has to gain steam. So you can't change it all the time, or you won't let the engines work. That's why we selected a month's time. Let's pick, I would say you want to pick 5 things or 5 to 6 things that you want to target, and then see how they roll. We probably know, and Sean, I don't know if Intercom said this, but you probably will see lift in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks is like the least amount of time you can look at something to see if it's actually moving or not. And then after that, you could make some adjustments or really hone in on things. So that's when you would want to optimize.
Okay, Sean, just and again as an aside, we've had some discussions about all this different stuff that we're getting into, and like when we jumped into it with the rebound and recovery program, we just needed bodies to handle this stuff, and whether it was Jordan or whether it was Siren, or Skroove, whatever. This tells me that we're leaning more and more towards a concentrated marketing program, which includes a lot of social media, a lot of geo-fencing, geo-tracking, and I think we're really getting to the point where it's going to be worthwhile to look at some staffing type stuff, that in-house, and we'll end up saving money in terms of, I'm not saying in terms of the placement, but in terms of, really staying on the ball on some of this stuff, on some of the other stuff that we've got going on. Okay, the next question I have is that with NIC, KQI, Mojo, and this, are we going to have to produce content? And if so, I would assume these are included in the buys, or where are we on that?
The audio streaming content, if we wanted to use our generic audio commercial, we have one that's already been made by Factory Detroit. And it's basically that video commercial that you're familiar with, but it's the audio version of that. So that would be like our default commercial that would take the spot of the commercial time. There's also some other things in there that would allow us to customize a message. So I think that would work a little bit more along the lines of how we advertise with Drew, where if we had something that we wanted to get out there, we would supply them with a read for that week, which is something that we've been doing. WNIC also has that added feature where we get like a 5-second mention where it's like, this hour of holiday music has been brought to you by, downtown Royal Oak. And then maybe they give us a nice plug for a few seconds, and we get several of those. They also have a holiday shopping guide that allows us to switch out creative. And I think I'd have to look to see specifically in the proposal. I think we get 6 of those throughout the duration of the advertising period. And so we can promote a generic image of downtown Royal Oak, or we can customize it. We could choose some specific businesses we wanted to feature. So that's also an option that we have.
So this is in all 3 platforms. Are we using a combination of image and specific? In other words, when I say image, Royal Open, which I think, by the way, is a great idea, particularly it's our first foray into these forums. Then I sit back and I want to go back to getting all our places through the winter, and I do want to attack all that we can on the gift card purchase program, but I realize jumping out with that only in these platforms wouldn't be so effective. But okay, go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, no, Matt, I think you're right. I mean, again, we're going to have an hourly sponsorship too between when they switch over to holiday music with WNIC.
Don't do that in like the middle of October. I mean,
I know, it's crazy. They'll probably turn it over tomorrow.
okay.
But no, but part of the added value that Sean was able to get will allow us to be an hour-long sponsor. So during that hour of time, when you have these personalized mentions, you can start to put in, the downtown dollar program, and then always end it with visit Royal Oak, or we can come up with I don't know, Sean, a particular vanity URL that we want to drive people to, so we know that this is driving some of the traffic. Again, I think that both of these proposals were really strong, and I think, and I don't want to speak for Tony because he's our committee chair, but we think that this will hit upon that family and female demographic that we were looking for in our last conversations. And if we do move forward with any of our other holiday programming in the city, this will be a good opportunity.
Okay. And again, I don't want to overpound it. And I think this is great. And now we're going to, I think we're really circling the wagons in terms of the demographics and the audience. But, I really think that the gift, which we're going to get into next, but the gift card buy program, for the next 2 months, I think it's got a lot of sizzle to it. I think it's a thing, and we're going to need to yell it from the mountaintops. And I'm not saying to just put all the ads into one basket, not at all. Just as long as we get the word out to this audience too.
No, and I would say the nice thing about radio, and Sean, you can look into this with either Red Shovel or Entercom. You can write or have them write you a 30-second spot. I know Channel 955 and 100.3 will do that for advertisers if we don't want to go with Royal Open. Or even if we want to go with Royal Open, we can add a 10-second donut at the end of these things.
Great call. Visit royaloak.com. Get your gift cards with the match, something like that. Yeah. Yep. I agree. We'll talk about that later. But with regard to working with Mojo, I know he's good with his advertisers on the air. So that's a good call. All right. I'll shut up.
All right. Good discussion. There is a suggested resolution on the table.
I would move to approve it as is.
Motion by Director Riley, second by Director Rosbeck. Any further discussion on this? If not, I'll call for the vote. Director Riley?
Yes.
Director Rosbeck?
Yes.
Director Brake?
Yes.
Director Yesbeck?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. The motion passes. Okay. Item number 12, Yiftee Community Cards for Holiday Shopping Campaign. Sean, you want to start, and then we can bring the committee in if they need to?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So I have input from two different committees, Business Marketing and Consumer Marketing Committee, who weighed in on this program.
Okay.
So this is basically a program that uses our existing e-gift card program, and it takes it into a holiday shopping campaign. And how this works is that the Business and Consumer Marketing Committees are recommending that the funds from expired gift cards, if the board recalls, cards have a 90-day lifespan that were given out. And as of yesterday, cards started to expire, and expired gift cards will have the balance of those cards returned to us, less a 10% fee that will go to Yiftee as like a service restock fee. And the committees are recommending that that refunded dollar amount that comes back into the DDA's Yiftee account be reused in a new holiday shopping promotion. And that entails providing a match to new e-gift cards that are purchased on the Yiftee website by consumers. And it's being recommended that the promotion to match card purchases begin November 1st and continue through December 31st. So it'd be a specifically holiday promotion. Both committees are also recommending that the match have a 6-month expiration date. However, it came up in the Consumer Marketing Committee that the purchased amount by consumers is not legally eligible for expiration. Let's see here. There are 3 levels that are being recommended in purchase amounts, and those amounts are $25, $50 cards, or $100 cards that would be available on the Yiftee website. That would be linked from the downtown Royal Oak website, Visit Royal Oak website. Could all take you to a portal that consumers could use to buy e-cards in those 3 levels. The Business Marketing Committee is recommending a 100% match of the value of the purchased card. So if a consumer goes in and buys a $25 e-gift card, they would get a free bonus $25 on that card that they could then send to either themselves or somebody to whom they're buying a gift for. The Consumer Marketing Committee, when they discussed it, actually recommended that the DDA consider a lesser match of a 50%. So if somebody went and bought a $50 e-card, they wouldn't get $50. They would instead get a $25 bonus. And I think I mentioned here in the cover letter that we don't fully know the exact amount that would be available, that would be refunded back to our Yiftee account at this time. Because we are in the middle of a period where cards are expiring. We are getting money back into our Yiftee account. However, people are spending that money at the 11th hour before their cards expired. And just as an example, I got an email from Matt Riley this morning, and we were looking at how the cards were being expended, and I think it was, what was it, $7,500 had recently been expended Monday.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so people are spending those just before they expire. They want to get out there and use them before they lose them.
Yeah.
So what I was able to do is I tried to put together at least some kind of estimate, kind of a worst case scenario. I took the amount of money that hadn't been spent at that time. I subtracted what we were estimating was being used for the Instagram contest and prizes. And then I subtracted a 10% restock fee. And the number that I was able to get to, and this was Friday morning, so it's definitely subject to change with all of these purchases. The estimated max budget for the holiday gift card program would not exceed $230,161.30 as a total max. So the DDA could put a budget for this that's considerably lower if they so chose, but that's the estimate we were able to put together.
Okay. I'll go with Director Riley.
Yeah, and I just, first thing I want to do is I just want to address the business marketing feeling on the 100% match. And then I'm just going to add a few more things in the number. The first thing I'll throw out is that Sean, I just looked, the redemptions in the last 5 days alone, not counting today, but so you got what, 5 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 27,300 in the last 5 days. And again, you and I went through it, and I think the first batch went out like within like 3 days. So I think there might be another couple of days. And I think we're going to get another surge on the second batch. But I have a feel, and I'll run it by you guys, for where I think we're going to end up on the first 400. But anyway, our feelings on the 100% match. First of all, the money's already out there. I don't want to say it's found money because that's unfair, but it's money that we already budgeted, and it's out on the street now. It's coming back to us, granted with a 10% haircut. We as a board unanimously put the same dollars out there in $20 increments, where the only buy-in was to click a button and sign up for a newsletter. And we put it out there at $20, hoping it would come back to us with no financial commitment from the customer. We all agree that 100% versus 50% is a bigger splash, not only for the media to pick up and run with, but to entice the end user. In other words, I can't tell you how many more dollars in gift cards we will sell with 100% match versus 50. The only thing I can tell you is it won't be less with the 100% match than it will with a 50. At the same time, the percentage or the if you will, to spend the money when somebody gives it to somebody or buys it for themselves will be greater with the 100% match, solely because the card is greater. Okay, if you buy a $25 card and you give it to Aunt Susie and it's $37.50, hopefully she'll spend it, but she's more likely to spend it if it's $50. Hopefully she'll spend it either way. The point being, my feeling is that we're we're by doing a full match, we're adding 25% to the street. We're putting it back out there. Again, we're not reaching into our pocket for this. I'm not stupid. It is in our pocket and we could use it elsewhere, but we already put it out there at $20. And this, in my opinion, although this is a holiday gift card promo, this is still part of the recovery effort. If you walk around, you see everybody putting up tents, putting up bales of straw, putting heaters out there. Everyone's trying to figure out, how to get through the winter, whether they're a restaurant, whether they're a retailer. By the way, one of the things that I love, Sean, in looking at the numbers, is when you get into them, the numbers that are going to retailers at the last minute are as a percentage are increasing. I mean, I notice Toyology is getting every day they're getting a ton made in the mitten, right impressions. So these, I believe, will help, and I could be wrong, but I think as a Christmas gift, I think you're going to end up helping the retailers at a higher percentage than the $20 out were in terms of restaurants versus retail. I could be wrong on that, but I just felt that would be the case. I just think that I think the prudent thing to do is that we cap it, and here's my feeling. If we cap it, see, and I don't think the number's anywhere near the 200. But by the way, I'd love it, but I don't think. In my wildest dreams, if we put 125,000 as the cap, and that way that if people spend 125, that means we have 250 out there that's coming back to us. I'd love it if people will spend 125,000 in 2 months buying these gift cards. I mean, I'd be frankly stunned if it would happen. But I just think it's a no lose situation to call it 100% match. I really do. It's just because, in other words, we originally put the money out there to help everybody. And now if we put 125 grand out there and say, all right, it's a 50% match, well, all we've done is we're going to end up, you're not going to get as much money out there when that's the main goal of the program. The other thing I think we need to do in the promotion of the program, Sean, is while we want to make it a holiday gift card program, we want to remind people you can buy this for yourself too, because there's a lot of people who will, who frequent Royal Oak, who will say, well, yeah, that's great. I may as well, I go to this place, I go to that place. I had my eye on this. It's, it costs this. I'm going to buy it. So that's the first thing that I have to say. And then later, after we get some more discussion on that, I'll give you some more of the numbers on where I think we're going to be in terms of coming back and the numbers coming back.
Okay, Director Yazbek. Or I'm sorry, Director Rossbeck.
Oh, yeah,
I'll come to you next, though.
Matt, I agree with you in terms of what you were saying with the 100% match. I think as part of the marketing committee, I think we are looking at this as trying to spread the love a little further. So the 50% wasn't necessarily to keep it, but to let it get to more people. I will say
Jennifer,
though,
I don't think that's going to be an issue. I really don't.
and that's fine. I
Yeah.
think my bigger concern was this combination card when we did hear about it, that you are paying for $25 and then you'll get $25 or $12.50, whatever we come to, all in one card, and then that portion is a 90-day. There's a portion of it that becomes a 90-day expiration, and the other side of it has no expiration. And it, from a consumer perspective, that's a little confusing.
100%.
But I'll get over that. I just think we may have some hurt feelings. People don't totally truly understand that, and I think they would buy this for somebody else, but realize it's all in one card.
We can't split the card. So that's
Right.
it. Thank
I
God.
know.
Thank God. And I would never, ever want to propose anything that's got two different expiration dates. So if we got a legal issue, it all goes one way or another.
But we do have a legal issue.
Then, well,
Because if I'm buying a card, it can't expire.
I understand. And my recommendation was, Sean, that we refer it to Dave Gillum and just make, because I don't know if when we add our money and if that changes or not. If it doesn't, then I would be then I would say that they don't have expiration dates, and that's all there is to it.
Okay, Director Yazbek, did you want to weigh in? I'm sorry, I thought I saw your hand.
Yeah, I did. And what the Consumer Marketing Committee was just thinking is that 50% is sufficient to incentivize people to to buy the cards. Certainly 100% is a little more incentivizing, but maybe our match dollars would go a little further if we did 50%. But if the underlying premise is to get money on the street, as Director Riley says, which I think was the underlying premise, then there's no reason, I guess, not to match it 100%. So I think that does make sense. I guess my question is, are we limiting the time? Is there a time limitation within which to purchase these gift cards, to receive the match? How long does that go on?
2 months, right?
Yes, Director Yazbek. It would be the promotion would start November 1st, and then it would end December 31st. So New Year's Eve would be the last day you could buy it.
And if it makes you guys feel better, I think we could safely budget with money coming back 150 grand. And again, I understand exactly what the CMC was talking about limiting it, because in my mind, the only rationale for going 50 versus 100 would be to get more cards out there. But I don't think we're going to come close to exhausting a budget of $150,000. I mean, in 60 days. I mean, I might be wrong. I mean, I'd be thrilled if I'm wrong. I'd be thrilled if we run out of 150 grand before 60 days is up.
So this,
Go ahead, Director.
just another question. Is there any way to extend this outside of the DDA for usage, or are we bound by how we built this? So
it's not how we built it. It's our dollars. We can't incentivize. We can't use them outside of the DDA because of the tax. Tim, I'll defer to you.
gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then, Sean, just to reiterate, so the people buying these gift cards and the matching disc, whatever cards, we're going off of the same list of retailers and restaurants and services that we used for the $20. Is that correct?
Yes, it's the same list. So it's if you're signed up to receive downtown dollars, then you continue to receive these downtown dollars. So
Okay.
It's like you can still run that card number on your point of sale system.
Gotcha.
We actually just
Okay.
had an addition yesterday. So
Yeah.
Well, that was my next question. Is there room for addition or no?
yes, we can continue to add more stores, retailers, restaurants. We can still add them.
Okay, thank you.
Sean, since we're we're getting close to this thing launching, the business marketing committee was strongly in favor of, some type of maybe even point of purchase displays at retailers and restaurants, and encouraging them to encourage people to buy them. I mean, it's, if I'm a retailer, a restaurateur, a cafe owner, a salon owner, I'm encouraging my people to buy these. I mean, absolutely, and buy them for their family and buy them for their friends. And again, I don't want to, although we're calling it the holiday gift card purchase, I mean, I guess people are smart enough to figure out that, hey, this is a great promo and I can buy it for myself and not have to give it away, right? I mean, or do we mention, well, we can figure that out.
Absolutely. If we wanted to design series of promotional things, like things you could put at the point of sale system. I know the 3x5 cards you can get in restaurants. Jenna says if I can ever make something 3x5 and give her a stack, she'll put them in the menu displays on tables. And then if we wanted to even update the visitroyaloak.com site, which has been very useful as a kind of a digital billboard for us whenever we want to do a contest or change the wording to highlight whatever new promotion, we can contact Dorsey Design that built that website for us, and we can have them change the copy and change the imagery. And if we even wanted to change how the card looks on your phone to have a more holiday themed display, we could have a graphic designer put that together too. I think with all of that in mind, I may want to get some kind of budget item blessed by the board to kind of move forward if we did want to create all those ancillary promotional items to go along with this so they'd be ready by November 1st.
I totally agree with that. By the way, I'm assuming that Visit Royal Oak is going to be changed so that when people hit it, the first thing that pops up is, here's where you click to buy your gift cards. Am I wrong in that?
That would make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just let me, as far as budgeting goes, let me walk through the numbers, and Tim, Sean, feel free to stop me anytime. First of all, in the packet, it mentions that we allocated $517,000 on the gift cards. I only recall 500. It was the original 400 and then the second 100. But we can get that answer in a second. Of that 500, the 400 went out right away. Most of that went out between July 13th and I want to say July 23rd. Does that sound about right, Sean? Maybe 10 days?
Yeah, I specifically remember it was about a 10-day period of time for us to hit 20,000 subscribers. And I remember the first day that we launched was Monday, July 13th.
Okay, so 400,000 is out there that's going to expire within 10 days from now. Of that, as of right now, I haven't clicked it since we've been in the meeting, but 218 has flown back to us. Okay, so we originally thought we'd be around somewhere in the 250 to 300 range on the and I think that's exactly where we're going to fall. So let's say we end up, let's say we kick another 60,000 in the next 10 days, which I doubt. That puts us at 275. So we get about 113 coming back to us. Okay. Then on the second 100, 50 of it went out right away, and I can't remember the date, but using the same formula, you're probably getting about another 15 back from that. And then we took 50,000 and we held that for social media contests and to give to local office workers. The demand from office workers hasn't been what we imagined. Just to put it into perspective, as of right now, there's 42,000 that we have sitting in our Yiftee account that hasn't gone anywhere. 5 of that is going out any day now to the contest winners. So after that, we still have 37 grand sitting there, and that's whole. If we pulled that right now, it doesn't get a haircut. Correct, Sean?
Correct. Yeah, there was a significant amount that was set aside to give to office firms, but we've gotten out to a lot of office firms, but not as much as we thought. So, I think we should have probably a committee meeting to talk about how that is reallocated.
Exactly. So the bottom line is, right now, I'm doing my math.
Use that for your point of purchase. Sorry.
Well, exactly. I couldn't agree more. There's your marketing budget, Sean. We can put it into a resolution, but figure out what we need and we pull it directly out of there. I love that. Okay. But all of that put together. So my thing is, I would say that we put out maybe 125 in terms of the 100% match. That's our top. We're going to match everything up to 125,000. Okay. And then we still have that other money sitting there. And then in terms of the recovery budget, we still have our little ace in the hole, which is the 70,000 that we allocated for rideshare that we're nowhere near. And unless things change dramatically in terms of people wanting to get an Uber or a Lyft, or Uber or Lyft drivers wanting to come out and drive, my suggestion would be that at the committee level or wherever, we just immediately slash that and reallocate.
Okay.
Okay.
Further discussion?
The last thing I'll say is that I really feel strongly, particularly after watching the success that we've had with this program. By the way, Sean and I both have talked to both retailers and restaurateurs, and a couple of retailers told me that on their $20 gift cards, their average sale is $40. The restaurateurs tell me they're 60 to 80 on their $20 gift card. So that's the economic creativity and development we got going on. So if we put up 125 or 150 grand and we sell 300, and there's 300 grand worth of gift cards out there, bully, to get us through the winter and the spring, I would love that.
Okay. Director Yasmic.
And I'll just say I'm maybe a little bit more optimistic than Director Riley, but we're giving away free money. Like, you spend $500 on gift cards, you just made $500. And we take care of all the fees, correct?
Correct.
So people are going to run through this, especially at the holiday time. And so we put it on all this new social media, and we're going to be talking about like stacking our match. I would wager.
I mean, I'd be thrilled with that. I see the majority. Yeah. You're thinking like I am, like I would if I was going to buy gifts if I owned a business, I wanted to buy gifts for my employees. This is what I would do.
But this is a huge opportunity. This is just an incredible thing for downtown Royal Oak. And we just, I thought the grant program was fantastic. Giving people these grants, it made a huge difference. But this program, it could be equally as powerful, maybe even more powerful, because we're going to have just a bustling downtown and people running around with free money in their pockets. I think it's going to be incredible.
And they have a buy-in as well. They're meeting us halfway. And keep in mind, the $20 program was in the summer. And the reason I'm so strong on the higher the match and getting more money out there is because it's the winter and the spring where everyone's going to really struggle.
Anybody else? Okay. Seeing none. So we have a suggested resolution on the table, but we need that resolution to be inclusive of exactly what the match is going to be.
If I may, it probably should include a cap.
Yes.
It should include what your match is going to be, whether it's 100% or 50%. Should include the cap. I guess the other item that I would throw out there is the end validation on the bonus card. I guess it's my understanding that the original card can not expire, but are you going to, for the bonus, the extra, is that going to expire in 90 days? Or is there a time period? Those are the items I think that are floating out there. Sean, correct me, but I also think in the agreement with Yiftee. There's a question of who actually pays those fees, whether it's the buyer or someone else. So the buyer could end up paying the fees. So there are some things in the contract that's attached to your document that I think from a clarity standpoint, you guys should include in your motion.
Sean, can I take a shot at it? Okay. As far as the contract, definitely November 1st to December 31st. I like the 25, 50, 100 increments. Offer expires 12/31. Available while match lasts. We are going to cover the delivery fees. I believe the contract has $1.05%. I think we're at that. Sean negotiated that down to 25 cents plus 3%. Correct? 25 cents a card plus 3%.
Right.
So we were going to cover that. As far as the match, I would like to go 100% match, and I would say max cap. I feel comfortable with 150,000. That will be more than fine in terms of without having to pull money from anywhere.
And what's your expiration?
Okay, now the expiration. I do not want to go with 2 cards. I think if you buy a $50 card, you get a $100 card. If legal says that because if the individual spends $1 into the card, you can't have an expiration date. And I don't know how we do this budget wise, but if legally we can't have an expiration date, we can't have an expiration date.
I think you can expire your bonus money. You cannot expire the bought card. That's the challenge here.
Well, and so let me ask you this, Director Osbeck. I mean, that's clunky. And we all agree.
It is clunky.
So and I know, I guess we're in a little bit of a paradox here because my feeling would be given the choice of either clunky or no clunky, I would take no clunky, meaning they don't expire and we hope they use them. I understand from a budgetary standpoint, that may not be possible because we've got this money floating around out there. Do we have to keep rolling it forward year to year? And
you get into escrow issues, yeah. And you also get into, so the way gift cards work legally in Michigan is they cannot expire. After 4 years or 5 years of non-use, the card company can start to take money off the card as a fee, but they cannot expire the card.
Sean, Birmingham bucks is just people buying them and they're online. And I could swear they have an expiration date. Maybe not.
I don't know if they have an expiration date, but people do buy them directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, would it be, okay, go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
Well, I think the simplest solution is if you don't want an expiration on the extra card, I think Yiftee is going to be responsible for managing the card going forward, correct?
There's not an extra card, though. We're just doing 1 card. Tim.
No, that's what I understand. I'm talking about the extra money, but it's 1 card.
Right.
But Yiftee's managing it. So we're simply, if you do no expiration date on your portion, Yiftee's going to manage it forward. It's just going to come out of your account and it's going to be gone. You're never going to see it again.
Right. You can't pull it back.
You won't pull it back, and it'll be in Yiftee's to deal with the purchaser. It'll just be gone.
Yeah, the challenge though that I'm seeing with this though, Tim, is that we are managing who can use where they can use the Yiftee card, and so we do manage a portion of this ability where to spend it, and that could be forever.
But again, it's coming out of Yiftee's money. It's not coming out of yours.
And for what it's worth, yeah, I get that we're not getting anything back, but I think the percentage redemption on these is going to be far greater than it was on the $20 ones. One, because they're bigger numbers. They're going to be the smallest card out there. If we do, it's going to be $50. These are going to be 50, 100, and $200 cards, and they've got a buy-in. They're going to get used.
Well, if you want them to expire, I would just set them, if the buy per date is November 1st to December 31st, I would just put an expiration date as June 30th of 2021, and then they're all gone.
But
Then you don't have to budget for them next year.
So I'm reading Birmingham's,
yep,
the way it works. They have a $3 fee deducted monthly after 12 months of inactivity. So that's how they get around the non-usage. So, but it does not have an expiration date.
Director Yazbek.
I would say, I agree with Tim. I think we put on your bonus dollars, which I don't think is a difficult thing a difficult message to get out there. Your bonus dollars expire June 30th, 2021.
I don't even think we have to verbalize that. That's just in the agreement. In other words, what I'm saying is if Drew's out there blasting, hey, Royal Oak's going to match you dollar for dollar, he's not going to say that. But when they go to the website under the FAQs, does it expire? Yes. The part you buy, no. The match expires. I'm cool. Jennifer, you cool with that?
That sounds like a reasonable
Yeah.
solution.
Now,
If we could get the email to say that too, I think then I would be really happy with it. But I'm okay if it's just on the website.
you could even when you put match in big letters, you put an asterisk, and down below it says the match part, the part you buy, no expiration. The match part expires June 30th. I love that.
So that's your motion?
Yeah.
However you want to say it. It's to me, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, can I call the question?
Give it 6 months.
Yeah, 1 second here. Director Brake?
Can I call the question?
Yeah, sure.
So, motion on the floor, and the question was asked on the expiration.
Okay, I want to just be clear, Matt, you're okay with putting that in the form of a motion, that the information that you provided us?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I have a motion on the table,
I'll support.
supported by Director Brake. Okay. Further discussion, Director Rosbeck. Oh, I'm sorry, we call him for,
I called the
how does
question.
this work? I'm not clear on this. We've had discussion already. Are we discontinuing discussion here?
But did we say what the expiration was?
June 30th.
June of
30th.
2021.
Oh, okay, that's perfect. All right.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So I'm gonna call for the vote right now. Okay. Motion was made. Okay. Director Riley
Yes.
and Director Brake.
Yes.
Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Rosbeck. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And I will vote yes also. The motion passes.
Sean, we just got to hope Donna can do it that way. Do we know
Okay.
what facts you can? You're muted.
I hope so. It doesn't sound unreasonable. I mean, it seems like it's within their capability. So,
Okay, I'm gonna
Yep.
move on to the next item. Item 13, Second Street Cost Sharing Agreement.
One quick thing. Did we need to allocate something for promotional materials? Or is it?
Sean, do you have a rough estimate of what you think that should be, or what, I mean,
$3,000, we'll worry about it later.
Okay.
okay,
I like that.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other words, print the damn signs up and get them, then we'll go from there.
Well,
Alrighty.
yeah, we'll get it together, and it's under 3, I can deal with it.
Okay,
I'll make sure that it's under 3.
Perfect.
sounds good, thank you. Okay, so item 13, Second Street Cost Sharing Agreement.
I'll jump into this initially. The board may recall that the DDA entered into a streetscape cost-sharing agreement on 3rd Street. with Central Park Development Group. That work's pretty close to being all done. Your agreement there called for you to reimburse Central Park Development Group $136,000 roughly. At the same time that discussion was going on, the DDA was in discussions with Central Park Development Group and the city in regards to improvements on 2nd Street. The DDA had asked that segment of 2nd Street that I've included in your report that runs from the parking deck across the alley include the stamped concrete colored pavers that are in the rest of the alley. At the time that was done, the construction budget or estimate at the time was about right around $11,000. And you've budgeted that dollar amount in your fiscal 2021 development fund. Since that time, which was roughly back in April, March, the city attorney and the project manager for the city, Plant Moran Cressa, negotiated a final agreement with Central Park on 2nd Street and responsibilities of who's paying for what under the improvements that occurred there. The construction budget at that point jumped up slightly because it included some soft cost engineering assignments of the general conditions, bonds, and fees that weren't in the original 11,000. So the resolution that's in front of you is a request to allocate the additional funds for a total of $16,907.57 and authorize the execution of the agreement that's also attached. That's been, as I said, negotiated between the city attorney, Plant Moran Cressa, and Central Park Development Group. It's already been executed by Central Park Development Group. If you approve it today, we'll execute it, and then it'll go on to the City Commission for its consideration.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Okay. Seeing none, there is a suggested resolution on the table. Director Riley? Motion by Director Riley,
Second.
second by Director Yazbek. Further discussion on this? Seeing none, I'm gonna call for it. Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
Director Brake,
Yes.
and I will vote yes, and that motion passes. The last item is other business and reports. I think these were for informational purposes. Is there anything that Tim or Sean needed to discuss at this time?
No?
Nothing from Mr. Twing? Anything? Sean?
Mr. Chair, nothing remarkable. Just for your information, just a status update on the progress and activities of the two contractors that the DDA has been working with.
Okay.
I just have one.
Director Riley?
Yeah, Sean, I just want to make sure, are we sharing the Skroove videos with the individual businesses so they can get them out? In other words, if the video's on their place, like whether it's UHF or whomever.
I have been letting them know with mixed results. Some of them respond, some of them haven't. But I've made sure that Molly has continued to tag them on their accounts too, to make sure that they are getting notifications that it's being put out there onto social media too.
Videos.
Okay.
And one last question on other business. Are we not doing anything? We had kicked something at the BMC meeting, just a CMC meeting regarding maybe doing something with gift cards for small business Saturday. I know we still have some time. No, we don't have some time on. Where maybe the first 10 people. Are we not doing anything with that?
It's got to be discussed by the committee, but yeah, it can still move forward.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I think that now that there's that available balance that didn't go out to the office firms in that Yiftee account, I think that can definitely be reallocated toward it. I know that Director Riley, you and I had discussed that on a phone call prior, so I think that that's probably a good use for it.
Yeah, just real quick, I'll make it, what we had talked about doing was for Small Business Saturday, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, that for the retailers, maybe we did something whereby the first 10, they encouraged the first 10 people into each retailer who bought something over a certain price, whether, you know, if you're right impressions, the first 10 people who spend $10 or $15 each, they automatically get a $20 gift card. And we'd give them a form where they could register the person with their email, and then we'd send out the card. And we do it for every retailer in town for Small Business Saturday. So we drive, you know, 10 people in the door as fast as we can. The thought.
Okay, is there some discussion for sure?
Yeah.
Okay, if there's nothing else, that is the end of our agenda.
I'll move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Director Riley, second by Director Yazbek. Okay, no other further discussion. I'll call for the last vote. Director Riley,
Yes.
Director Yazbek,
Yes.
Director Rosbeck,
Yes.
Director Brake,
Yes.
and I will vote yes, and that motion passes. We are officially adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.